We've been talking a lot about Shelly Christian, and I am so happy to be joined by her sister, Shanna, right now. Shanna Christian, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Everyone, I kept saying, like, everyone in the community, for some reason, resonated with Matilda at the time. She was in their hearts. A lot of them had her picture nearby.
Yes.
I mean, what is it like to think about all of these people were holding your sister in their hearts and they didn't even know why?
You know, it's meant the world to me. She was loved from the moment that she was found. And it warms my heart. And I feel like they took care of her for all those years. I didn't know where she was. And now I get to be part of it with the community, that they can put a face, and I get to thank them. That is one of my main goals also, is to thank everyone, because she was never forgotten in Michigan. Never forgotten.
What was it like when you got the phone call?
I was saddened, but I had known in my heart since she became missing that, she was deceased. I mean, in my heart, I knew that. So I was sad to get the news, but it also was somewhat a relief to know that they had found her and that she can be brought home, have a resting place with a name.
Were you on pretty much every message board of Jane Doe's in the country? Did this consume you?
It did take a big chunk of my time every week. I was on every site, every group. I looked at hundreds of, unfortunately, morgue pictures.
When you came across the Jane Doe known as Matilda, all the way over here in Michigan, something hit you. Even
Yes.
though the description was wrong, even though it didn't really completely look like your sister, something resonated. Explain that, because it's hard.
I'm actually getting chills just when you say that, because I would look at every state. I would take a state probably per week, or, multiple states. And I would go through each of the unidentified people and the characteristics and some of the stuff they could find about this person. And when I saw Matilda, the name, it's my daughter's favorite movie. My daughter is 30. We love Matilda. We named our cat that still is alive 20 years. This cat is named Matilda.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. You named your cat Matilda.
Yeah, and she's 20 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she is right here.
Hi, Matilda.
Matilda.
Okay, and so you're searching for your sister, and your Matilda's by your side, and there's your biggest clue.
When they said that, I can't even explain to you what that meant. And I feel my sister was with me in this journey. I do. And it was like a connection that I had with her all over again.
Tell us about Shelly. What do you want people to know about your sister?
She was a loving person. She cared for people. She volunteered in a nursing home when she was a teenager. She was a great mother. She had a good heart. She just had troubles with life, and it led her down that path. But deep down, she was, she was a great person.
Do you ever just break down, or was that something that you were doing before and now you're too focused? What's the hardest part of all of this?
I really want to find out who did this to her and how, because the nightmares that I have are, they're scary, because in my nightmares, it's Shelly, crying out. And, I think it will help my soul, to be honest.
I know it's hard.
to find out what happened and who did it. That's what I want to do for her. It is my goal now. My goal, I found her, we found her, everyone found her. And now the goal is to get justice for her.
I'm now joined by Ottawa County Sheriff's Office Detective Sara Fillman and Allison Anderson. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are hitting the ground running. So often this doesn't happen with cold cases. How are you feeling about this investigation?
It's hard when you dig so deep into a case to not feel some sort of personal responsibility or connection for finishing that, or getting to the next step. So I think we feel pretty proud of that, for one, and pretty thankful that we were able to have the resources to do it.
I mean, first of all, what were you even doing in 1994?
I was still in high school.
I was in the police academy.
Why do you think people's hearts went out to Matilda so much?
Where she was found in the area between Marne and Coopersville is pretty small and pretty rural and a pretty tight community. And I think that was pretty shocking to that community.
You have familial DNA and you make the phone call. What was that like?
It was unreal, I think. It was amazing. It was exciting. We didn't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we knew that it was a pretty good lead for us. I think that when we called Shanna, that we did do it on a conference call, so we were both able to speak to her and hear what she's saying. And I think she thought it was a joke. So it was very exciting to let her know that this was the real deal. I think it was rewarding. I think it was a relief, but also now we got to get down to the nitty gritty and try to figure out what happened.
That's true. You guys have this high of finding out, oh my goodness, we can finally give her a name. And that's the first half of the justice, right? But now comes the difficult part. And in cold cases, often you're not able to put resources toward actually doing a real investigation from scratch. And I know a lot of people had preconceived notions of this case. They already feel like they know what happened, but you guys are not using any paradigms. You're really starting from scratch.
Right. And we really have, I mean, just like you see on TV, we have papers taped up on the wall, and we have sessions of, okay, who could have done this, and so we're kind of starting from scratch with many different alternative hypotheses of what could have happened, who could have done this, and how she ended up here.
What are some pieces that you're looking to the public to help with?
I think ultimately we're looking for people that knew her at that time, that she may have spoken to, that she may have confided in about her plans, about what she wanted to do. If there was anybody here in Michigan that they knew she knew, or why she would have come to Michigan. Those are all questions that we would like to get answered.
We've managed to get through almost all of this without saying the words serial killer, but the community kind of has hung on to that, and the internet has hung on to that, and internet sleuths all kind of just place her in this box saying, well, yep, she was one of the victims of Larry Dwayne Hall, and that's it. But that's not what you guys are coming at this with, right?
We kind of had to make the decision as a team and as partners that, we need to just step back, and there was opinions back in the, in the 90s during the when there was a task force and a large amount of murders that were happening in the Grand Rapids area, that there was kind of an assumption that it was, one of a few guys that were in the area. But we've kind of stepped back from that, and we're researching information that the task force, had gathered back in the 90s and in the 2000s, and trying to put that together and see how Shelly's case connects, or how it's similar. We're finding a lot of differences in those cases. We're finding some similarities in those cases. So to say for sure that all 12 or 11 of the homicides that happened in that few years, in between like 94 and 96. To say that all of them are related would be premature for us at this point.
Do you ever talk to Shelly? Do you ever look at her picture and just, you know, think about the person that she is, and that's kind of why you're moving forward and so motivated?
There's a picture still in my office of Shelly. There's actually the drawing picture and the actual picture of her. And I think that Sara and I look at that often and ask questions. I mean, maybe not out loud, but you know, I mean, we want to know who she was. I mean, we have so many questions that that we would like to get answered.
For the first year that we worked on this, we had those pictures, you know, the clay figure photograph and also the drawing of her taped on Allison's whiteboard. And we had written underneath, you know, who are you? And what's your name? Or yeah, maybe what's your name? It said underneath. And it was almost like a ceremony when we were able to erase that from the whiteboard and write her name under there. And I think that was a wonderful day.
In your hearts, do you feel like Shelly can get justice? Do you feel like this is a solvable case?
Absolutely.
I feel that we're going to do everything in our power to make that a reality.